It's Sunday, September 18, 2022. Well, it is official. I asked all of you, what should the name be for this little French bulldog? And a lot of people like the name Nugget. So this little Nugget's name is Nugget. I want to thank everybody for their input with the name. There was a lot of great names out there, but there was a lot of people who said, name that dog Nugget. So her name is Nugget. And you can see she's chubby. She's getting bigger, growing. She's a total handful. We love her to death. And she wanted to make a little appearance today on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. So this is Nugget. Nugget, say hi to everybody. You know, there is so much negativity going on in the world. And it is so nice to be surrounded by animals. We have great dogs, cats, tortoises. I love animals, and you know, when there's so much happening, it's just so great to have a little animal nearby. They are just so nice to have, and it just keeps you grounded and brings you back to reality. And with everything that's happening in the world, it's just so comforting to have a great family, a network of friends, and great animals. So thanks for all the input with the name. Her name is Nugget, and without further ado, let's get started with this video. So yesterday I stopped at an ATM to get a couple dollars, and when I went up to the ATM machine, there was a receipt in the ATM, and just out of curiosity, I looked at it, and whoever this individual was, they tried to withdraw $200 out of their checking account, and it was denied. They were able to get, it looks like, $190. Plus the $3.50 charge for the ATM. It was $193.50. That's it. That put their account at zero. And I look at this and I just think, like, here's an individual, whoever it was, went to the bank yesterday and they now have zero money left in the bank. And not that I think you should have a lot of money in the bank, but you should have enough to pay the bills, should have some amount in the bank, right, in order to pay those bills and just have a little bit of money. I think you should have your majority of your money outside of the banks. But we all know this individual probably does not have money sitting outside of the bank. Everything they had was in that bank account, and it's now zero. So as I watch all the news today, and I believe the Queen's funeral is tomorrow, and what I find extremely fascinating watching this stuff during the week was that they said that the lines to see the Queen's body, that the lines were up to 10 miles. People were standing in 10-mile lines to see the Queen's body before the funeral. I believe the funeral is tomorrow. And I think how many problems we have in this world, how many people right now have zero money now in their accounts, living paycheck to paycheck. If they're lucky, many people now not even getting a paycheck, they're falling behind if they do have a paycheck. And yet we're all concerned about some woman who passed away, who did nothing to help any of us. And I'm not judging this woman, but I think we all know enough about this family and some of the connections of this family with friends and relatives. I don't know if I really want to be associated with people like that, but that's not me to be the judge. That's up to God, and I'm not here to judge anybody or criticize anybody. But I think we have way bigger problems, and I think we have bigger concerns than worrying about somebody who lived well into their 90s and didn't help me one bit, didn't help you one bit. I think we have big trouble here, and we better start preparing and getting ready ourselves, not worrying about queens and kings and princes and all this other stuff. We better start worrying about what's happening right here at home. We better start worrying about what's happening to us, our finances, what's happening to our country, our economy, etc. Another sign of looming recession: Americans' ability to pay bills on time fell for the first time in 5 years. This was on Morningstar.com. A person who is financially, it says this, a person who is financially healthy spends less than they earn, pays bills on time, and has sufficient savings and long-term savings. I don't know about you, but we are beginning to see fewer and fewer people that meet that criteria. Are you late paying your utilities? Do you have enough set aside for a rainy day? Most people do not. 80% of this country is living paycheck to paycheck. Half this country doesn't even have $500 in cash put away for an emergency. Less than 1/3, 31% of Americans are financially healthy in 2022. 2. That's down 3% from a year ago. More than 55% of Americans report they are financially coping, meaning they are just getting by. 15 describe themselves as financially vulnerable. That means they are a flat tire away from being in very, very big trouble. And this article goes on. And let me make this point. Nobody is immune to what is coming. All we can do is put the odds in our favor, do the best that we can, prepare the best that we can, but nobody's immune. We're all going to feel the pain. Some of us are going to feel the pain much more than others. The people that did not prepare, the people that didn't put assets away, didn't put essentials away, didn't get in a mindset, didn't get their bodies in shape, didn't get closer to God. These people are not going to fare as well. The share of Americans able to cover at least 3 months of living expenses fell to 58%. I don't even know if that number is even true, but let's just say it is. That means that we have 42% of Americans who cannot even last 3 months because they're broke. That's very concerning, and I think the number is even higher than that. And individuals with incomes between $60,000 and $100,000 are seeing substantial decreases in their finances. Even individuals earning over $100,000 are beginning to feel the pain. The cost to support this standard of living is becoming more and more unsustainable. And so when you have multiple car payments, and you have credit card debt, and you have a mortgage, and you have more and more debt piling on every day, and we know rates are going up, cost to borrow money is going up. These same people cannot weather the storm as well. They're paying more at the grocery store, they're paying more at the pump, they're paying more for car insurance, more for health insurance, more and more and more. And so it's bringing people down who considered themselves once middle class. Now these people are being brought down, and that's really, really a sad state of affairs. And think about what it's doing to people who make $40,000, $50,000 a year, $20,000 or $30,000 a year, what it's doing to them. Washington Post today, opinion, a slow-moving crisis is paralyzing states and cities. My buddy Richard sent this to me a couple nights ago, and I was reading this article. A crisis is infecting our states, our counties, and our towns. Governments are unable to fulfill the most basic functions, such as getting trash picked up, getting potholes fixed. School routes are being canceled because they don't have school bus drivers. Medicaid enrollment forms are waiting months to get processed. State and local governments are down 647,000 positions since February of 2020. So we're going to have a problem when the trash isn't being taken out. The school bus drivers aren't there to pick up your kids to take to school. Can't process Medicaid forms. Can't process this. We don't have enough people working at the power plant. We don't have enough people working at the water plant. Now your water doesn't turn on. This is an absolute disaster. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. I'm sure many of you haven't either, because it has never happened in this great country. We cannot not even get airplanes to take off. Now we're hearing more concern that maybe this railroad agreement isn't what we once thought it was, that there really isn't a solid agreement right now. This thing could reverse course. If those railroads go down, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be bad news, really bad. It's going to cost the U.S. economy a minimum of $2 billion a day, and it is going to break the back of this country, and it is going to put so much stress on the average American, because all of your foods, your automobiles, oil, other ingredients, all types of products are moved on those trains to get to those trucks. This could be really a huge event. Would be quite catastrophic in my opinion. Here's one from The Hedge. Escalation. Recent events suggest mounting economic danger. The article makes a really great point, because I've heard this so many times. And in the article, it says the criticism is that you and I have been predicting this crisis for so long that eventually it will be right. You know, some people will say, well, a clock is right 2 times a day. These people who say this, they're the most unprepared people, as you know, but these people who say this are generally people who do not understand the nature of an economic decline. They haven't read history. Maybe look, I went through the 2008 crash, and it should have been much worse than it was, but I went through it. I learned a lot from it. And all of us should go back, read history, learn, watch videos of what happened in 1929, read articles, read history, and watch videos of what happened in 2008. But again, these people don't understand the nature of an economic decline. It's like, and they use an analogy here in the article. It's like an avalanche that builds over time, then breaks and quickly escalates as it flows down the mountain. What these people don't cusp is that they are in the middle of an economic collapse right now. And I don't understand how people cannot see that. We've lost hundreds of thousands of small businesses in the last 2 years. We've pumped $6 trillion into this economy and into these markets over the last 2 years. You see the vacant malls, you see the vacant shopping centers, you see the massive inflation taking place, you see the empty car lots, you see the warning signs, and yet these people ignore the warning signs. And again, they don't grasp that they're in the middle of a collapse right now. And they just can't see it because they have been acclimated to the presence of snow and cold. And so since that snow isn't moving yet, it's not coming down the mountain, they just believe it'll never, ever happen. Economic decline is a process that takes years. It does not happen overnight, ladies and gentlemen. This takes years. And when you look at this bubble and you look at the manipulation of these markets and you look at the debt, it's epic, it's historic, and it took years to get to this point and inflate these bubbles. We have more bubbles we've ever seen before in bonds, in housing, the stock market, you name it. The past month, there's been considerable uptick in economic and geopolitical activity. And this suggests that we're entering a new phase. You look at the European energy crisis, Russia shutting Europe down entirely. You look at Xi and Putin, the meeting that they're going to have, I believe, this month. And you have to think, what's that meeting about? Is it about Taiwan? And what happens when China takes Taiwan? You have to think about that. We're seeing so many events taking place right now. Inflation, food shortages, food crisis, shipping crisis. We've never seen anything like this. And yet people are ignoring these warning signs. And I'm here to tell you today, don't ignore the warning signs. Prepare for third world conditions. Learn a skill right now. Stock up on all necessities. Make sure that you're organized and make sure you have an organized group of people. Do not hang out with people that don't bring anything to the table. Stop hanging out with mooches. Stop hanging out with people that want you to give them stuff, that they do nothing to deserve it, but they want you to give them stuff, or they're going to come to your house when it gets bad. In the meantime, they're going to continue to party, go to Vegas, run up the credit cards, deny reality. But when it gets bad, they all say they're going to come to your house. These people are not coming to your house. You're not going to let them. They're not coming through the doors. You need to warn these people right now that when this happens, when these events unfold, if you're not bringing something to the table, if you don't have a skill set, you are not walking through the doors. So make sure you surround yourself with the right people. Get rid of the fake people in your lives. Have barterable items. Make sure you have physical silver. I think that if you can get some junk silver right now, that's going to be very, very barterable for items. So these are things that we got to be thinking about right now. And as I read more of these articles and research the data, here's one that came out over the weekend from Bloomberg. California sees warning sign from weak tax revenue collection. California drew in 11% less in personal income tax revenue than expected. Article goes on to say the latest warning sign for the finances of a state whose fortunes are closely tied to the performance of markets. You know, we have the biggest pension here, CalPERS, the CalPERS pension, biggest pension in America, and it's highly tied into the markets. And if these markets crash, which they're going to, pensions like CalPERS is going to crash also. So think about what that's going to do to your pension. They could take half your pension away. They could take all your pension away. What would you do? You got to start thinking about worst case scenario. You got to start thinking about what you're going to do if you wake up one day and the system has collapsed. There's no pension. There's no money in the bank. There's no credit. What do? Do you have gold? Do you have silver? Do you have food? Do you have water? And of course, do you have security to protect all of this? Do you have the mindset? Do you have people that are going to be surrounding you, protecting you? You've got to think about this. Do you have the skill sets? Do you have the skill sets? And are you ready for this? This is going to be a difficult time, ladies and gentlemen. I truly do believe that we are going to be tested as people. How many people are going to have a difficult time paying their income tax this year or last year's income tax? Unemployment's up. Silicon Valley hammered. Businesses struggle. We look at the amount of people exiting the state of California. Where's the money going to come from for the state of California if everybody's leaving and the tech industry is just being ravaged and we see unemployment in the state of California ticking up? This is very, very bad news for an economy which is about the 6th biggest economy in the entire world. California is not alone, ladies and gentlemen. This is coming to a state near you, so be prepared. Wolfstreet.com, California housing market, dismal sales. Prices sag in San Francisco. This was very interesting. San Francisco sales volume down 24% year over year. Santa Clara, Southern Silicon Valley, their sales volume down 28% year over year. San Mateo, which is Northern Silicon Valley, down 30% year over year. Alameda County, down 30% year over year. Contra Costa County, down 27%. San Diego down 28% year over year. It was down 41%. This is sales volume, down 41% in July. Orange County, California, down 30% year over year. LA County down 29% year over year. These numbers are staggering. And I bring this up because California usually is one of the hottest housing markets throughout the state. So many areas in California are typically some of the hottest housing markets in the country. It is beginning to freeze out here in regards to what's happening in the housing market. And this is a reminder because typically what happens in California heads east, heads into other housing markets. And this is just a canary in the coal mine, an indicator. If it's happening here, it's about to happen throughout other states in America. And it has already begun. Massive new $10 billion U.S. aid package to make Jordan third largest recipient. Now this $10 billion is over a course of 7 years. Where is this money coming from? We have so many problems, so many issues taking place right now, right here. And we still just cannot leave the Middle East alone. Now, most of us know the Jordan government is very, very corrupt, very abusive as far as human rights go and torture. And yet we're going to give $10 billion to another country while we have vets sleeping on the streets here. Food insecurity throughout the country, tent cities popping up everywhere. We have so many problems here in America, ladies and gentlemen. What would $10 billion do for your city, your state? What would $10 billion do for this country? And where's it coming from? It's going to be borrowed. It's going to be printed. It's going to cause more inflation. How in the world is the Fed going to fight inflation when this government cannot stop spending money? So again, how are we ever going to fight inflation if we cannot stop borrowing money, printing money, and sending money all over the world? I don't understand this. Again, if we keep printing, keep borrowing, keep taxing hardworking Americans, and keep spending, how in the world are we ever going to get inflation under control in America? And the answer is we are not. And this is why you better get ready. I don't believe inflation's going anywhere. They're going to keep continuing to create more inflation. I'm going to wrap up with this last article. Starbucks makes good on promise to close more stores as crime rages in New Orleans. So they're going to be closing a Starbucks in New Orleans, a very popular one. October 3rd, it closes. 16 stores across the U.S. closing due to safety concerns. What a sad state of affairs this country is now, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? I had a friend in law enforcement call me this morning, and about 3 miles from where I'm making this video, we had a carjacking about a night ago at a movie theater, and we had some nice gang members from Moreno Valley come out here and look for some victims, and they went to the movie theater, waited for the movie to come out, and they saw a nice young couple, man and woman, coming out to their BMW, and they maced them and then they punched the male, knocked him down, and then they took their car. They did recover it. A helicopter got involved. They did catch these two suspects. That's the good news. But what a terrible thing to go out with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, family member, your kids, whatever, walk out, get maced, get beaten, and have your car stolen in beautiful La Quinta, California. La Quinta, California. This is the kind of crime we're seeing now in a beautiful city like La Quinta, California. I mean, that's right next door to Palm Desert and Indian Wells, some of the wealthiest areas here in the desert in Southern California. And this is why I want to remind all of you, and I do this in these videos, be very aware of your environments. Use situational awareness at all times. Be very, very careful because you have no idea who you're crossing paths with. You gang members coming from Moreno Valley. We've got all kind of gangs in Southern California here. And everybody has cars, everybody can travel, and you don't know if they're in your nice city. They're coming to the nicer areas, ladies and gentlemen. The crime that you heard about in the inner city, that now is coming to the Beverly Hills, it's coming to the Malibus, it's coming to the Palm Springs, it's coming to the Palm Deserts, the La Quintas, it's coming to the Orange Counties. It's everywhere now. So you're not really safe anywhere. So be careful out there. I'm going to leave it there today. God bless every one of you. Please make sure to thank God for everything you have, and please make sure to pray to God, ask for direction, ask for strength, and ask for this country to get some serious help, because we are sinking very, very fast. And I think now at this point it's going to take a miracle for the U.S. to get out of this mess. And unfortunately, it's going to get much worse before it gets better. So pray to God that we have some kind of divine intervention here. We need a miracle to save this country, because we are about ready to fall into the greatest depression the world has ever seen. And this is going to be global. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be dangerous. And it's going to be very, very painful. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. This is no joke. Stop listening to these people who say these things can never happen. Take a look at what has happened in the last 12 to 18 months. People thought these events could have never happened. We shut the entire global economy down, for one. Who would have ever thought that that would ever happen, that could even be possible? Think about that. Food shortages, 40 million chickens and turkeys euthanized. Who would have ever thought that could happen here? The shipping crisis here in America, the most advanced, technologically advanced country in the world. We can't even get airplanes off the ground, and we can't even unload ships. Inflation at 8.3%. Who would have ever thought this was possible? It's going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready.